Hello students, hello everyone. I hope you all are doing great. So if you know me already, if you have attended my last session, myself Madhu Yadav, if you know me then good. If you don't know, then I'm telling I am going to teach you zoology everyone. So in the last session we have discussed the chapter breathing and exchange of gases. Yes or no? So please tell me in the comments, those who have attended my last session, please tell me in the comments, did you understood that well? Have you studied it through the NCERT? Good evening everyone. Gayatri, good evening beta. Anamika, Bhavna, Krishna. Good evening everyone. So I hope now all are here, all are ready for this session. Are you ready everyone? Good evening everyone. Good evening Shweta. Good evening Bhargav. Okay, fine. Okay Jaswant, no problem beta. So now when you will come here, we are going to teach you again all those things which we have taught you already during this session. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay. So, okay, you understood, thank you. Okay everyone, so now without any delay, let's start today's session. So beta, today's session is about the second chapter. I've told you in the new NCERT some changes are there. So the first chapter of human physiology was breathing and exchange of gases, and the second chapter is body fluids and circulation. So today from that chapter we are going to study a very interesting topic, that is cardiac cycle everyone. Okay, so let's start without any delay. Yes, you are excited. I too am very excited to teach you all this cardiac cycle. Okay everyone, so before starting the cardiac cycle, I will tell you first the structure of heart, because then only you can understand nicely the cardiac cycle. Okay everyone, so let's get started. You can see this. Yes, this is your beautiful heart. I'm sure you all have beautiful hearts. Okay, so now let me make one another beautiful heart for you. Okay, so you know that if we talk about human heart, it is our pumping organ everyone. Yes. What is the function of heart? It pumps the blood. It pumps the blood to the whole body. It pumps the blood to the lungs so that it can get oxygen from the lungs. Yes, we have studied in the last session that how the oxygen is coming through the lungs, how the CO2 is removed from the blood. So blood needs to go to the lungs. So then who will do that? The blood will be pumped by the heart. All the tissues, all the organs requires oxygenated blood. Yes, so who will do that? Heart. Heart will pump the blood to all the tissues and organs, and that's how all the tissues and organs are getting oxygen, are getting nutrients, hormones, so many things they are getting by this circulation. So firstly, human heart is mesodermal in origin. What is the origin of human heart? Human heart is beta mesodermal in origin. Do you understand the meaning of mesodermal? That means it is derived from the mesoderm layer. Mesoderm is a germ layer. Okay, so how many germ layers we have in total? We have 3 germ layers. They were present in the embryo. Okay, now they are not present in us, they were present in the embryo. When we were in embryo, okay, so then we were having 3 germ layers. Those are ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. So some of the organs are formed by ectoderm, some of the organs are formed by mesoderm, and some of the organs are formed by endoderm everyone. Okay, so now human heart, now you know that it is formed by, its origin is mesodermal. It is formed by mesoderm layer. Okay everyone, so now talking about the human heart further, you know that it is a very vital organ. It needs protection. Okay, and that protection is done by a bag around the heart. That bag is known as pericardium. Okay, so it is enclosed in it is enclosed in a double-walled membranous bag, called, it is known as pericardium. Peri means around, cardium means heart. So the bag which is present around the heart is pericardium. Okay, it has two layers, double walled, that means it has two layers, one is the outer, one is the inner. One is the outer and one is the inner pericardium. So inner pericardium is also known as visceral pericardium, and the outer pericardium is also known as parietal pericardium, everyone. So there are two layers in the pericardium, one is outer, one is inner. Okay, just like if you know that around the lungs also there are two membranes, one is outer pleural membrane, one is inner pleural membrane. Anywhere if you will find outer and inner, okay, so inner will always be the visceral and outer will always be the parietal. Okay, parietal is the outer one and visceral is the inner one. Yes, Shweta, lungs are protected by rib cage, but inside that lungs are surrounded by the pleural membranes also, and there are two pleural membranes just like two pericardiums. There are two pleural membranes. Okay, now in between these two pericardiums, in between these two, there will be a cavity, and that cavity is known as pericardial cavity, everyone. That is known as pericardial cavity. So in this cavity there is a fluid, and that is acting as a shock absorber. That is a very important function. Okay, that is the actual function of protection. So the actual function of protection is done by this fluid which is present in the pericardial cavity. All right, everyone? Okay, so pericardial cavity is filled with, let's write, filled with pericardial fluid, and this fluid is going to give protection to the heart. What it will do? Pericardial fluid, it will act as shock absorber. Any kind of shock which is coming to the heart, it will be absorbed by the pericardial fluid. Okay, so let us take an example. Let us suppose there is a stick in my hand, and this is my hand. Obviously, if I will with a lot of force, if I'll apply the stick, obviously it will hurt. Yes or no? It will hurt. But if there is a packet of water on my hand, all the force, all the pressure of the stick which I am going to apply, that will be absorbed by the packet of water. So nothing will happen. My hand will no more be hurt. Yes or no, everyone? So just like that, there is a fluid around the heart which will be absorbing the shock. Okay, so let's write, it acts as shock absorber. It acts as shock absorber. Now the another function is, when you know that heart is contracting, heart is relaxing. Yes or no? During the heartbeat, during the cardiac cycle, we will be studying in the further topic when the heart will be contracting, how the atria are contracting, how the ventricles are contracting. This we are going to study. So during that contraction, obviously there is movement in the heart. Okay, during that movement, if the fluid is not present, then there can be friction between the two membranes. Between these two membranes, there can be friction. And wherever there will be friction, then there are chances of damage. Any kind of damage can happen due to that friction. So that is why this pericardial fluid allows the frictionless movement. It prevents the friction between these two membranes, everyone. Okay, so let's write the another function. Pericardial fluid acts as shock absorber and it prevents friction. So we have talked about the protection of heart. I hope you all have understood protection of heart. Yes or no? Now I will talk about the wall of heart. Now I will talk about the wall of heart. Yes. So the wall of heart has 3 layers, everyone. The wall of heart is made up of 3 layers. One is outer, one is middle, and one is inner. Let's see through a diagram how it looks like. So this is the endocardium and this is the epicardium. This is the epicardium, everyone. Okay, and in the middle there is this myocardium. This is myocardium. So tell me in the comments which type of muscles are present in the heart. Yes, everyone, tell me in the comments. If you are understanding, please like the session and tell me in the comments. If you have any doubt, tell me in the comments which muscle is present in the heart. Yes, very simple, very easy question. Cardiac muscles. Yes, everyone, cardiac muscles. So yeah, some people are giving the correct answer, cardiac muscles. Now I will show you the pericardium also here. I will show you the pericardium also here. So actually the visceral pericardium only is the epicardium, beta. Is the epicardium. Visceral pericardium and epicardium is the same only. This is the visceral pericardium and this is the parietal pericardium. So in this pericardium there are these cells you can see, and these cells will be secreting the pericardial fluid. So you can see in between these two membranes, you can see there is a cavity here, and this cavity is filled with the pericardial fluid, everyone. So I hope you are understanding with the help of the diagram that this is the pericardium, this is the pericardium, this is the pericardium. Are you understanding? So you can see here, this is the outer one and this is the inner one. This is the parietal pericardium and this is the visceral pericardium, and in between you can see pericardial cavity in which you can see pericardial fluid. So I hope this is clear. The protection of heart is clear to everyone. Now let's talk about the wall of heart. So this you can see here is the wall. This is the wall, and in this wall you can see here this is the space. This is the space inside the heart that will be termed as lumen of heart. Lumen, anywhere if you will see lumen, that means that is a space. So there is a space inside the heart, there is a space inside the lungs, there is a space inside your digestive tract, there is a space inside the blood vessels. So in our internal organs there is a space, and that space is termed as lumen. Okay, so this is the internal side of the heart, and in the internal side you can see the innermost layer of the wall. So this is going to be your endocardium. This is going to be your endocardium. This is endocardium. Alright. So this endocardium is the innermost layer of your wall of heart. Yes or no, everyone? Then this green colored represents your myocardium, which is the middle layer of the wall of heart, and it has cardiac muscles. It has cardiac muscles, everyone. And if I talk about this one, then this is the epicardium. This is the epicardium. So epicardium and visceral pericardium is same. These two are going to be same. But when we are mentioning the walls of heart, when we are mentioning it in the wall, then we will say it is a epicardium. But when we are mentioning it in the pericardium, we will say that it is the not visceral, it is the visceral only. It is the inside, it is present. So visceral only. So when we will talk about the pericardium, we will tell this as visceral pericardium, and when we will talk about the wall, we will tell that it is the epicardium. So in the wall of heart, we have seen how many layers, everyone? 3 layers we have seen. 3 layers we have seen in the wall of heart. So I hope that this is clear to everyone. What is pericardium and what are the 3 layers in the wall of heart? Yes? So let's move ahead. Tell me by giving a thumbs up if you are understanding. So nobody should talk in the comments. Okay? You are not here to talk, beta. You are here to study. So please don't disturb others who are studying through this session. Please don't disturb them. Okay? Beta, what is the need of lumen? Lumen, if lumen will not be there, then where the all blood will be accumulated, which is coming to the heart, where it will be accumulated, everyone? So that is the need of the lumen. Okay? Shravan Kumar? Okay. If there is lumen in the blood vessels, that is why in the blood vessels the blood is flowing. Okay, everyone. Okay. So now let's move ahead and let's talk about the further structure of heart. You have understood the wall of heart, you have understood the pericardium. So now you know that heart has 4 chambers. Yes or no? In case of birds and in case of mammals, we have 4-chambered heart, and also in case of crocodiles, they have 4-chambered heart. In other reptiles, there is 3-chambered heart, but in case of crocodiles also 4-chambered heart. Okay, so we are humans, we are mammals, and mammals have 4-chambered heart. So if we talk about these 4 chambers, there are 2 upper small chambers, 2 upper small chambers, they are known as atria, and 2 lower comparatively large chambers, they are known as ventricles. Okay, everyone? Now these atria, these 4 chambers are separated by the septums. Okay? These 4 chambers, Shweta Royal, beta, fishes have 2 chambers in their heart. Fishes have 2-chambered heart. Okay, so now 2 small atria, they are present above, and 2 large ventricles, they are present below. Now let's draw the diagram, and I will show you the septum which are separating the 2 atria, the 2 ventricles. Both atria and ventricles are also separated by the septum. Okay, so let's write it down and let's draw. So if you can see here, these are the atria, and here these are the ventricles. Okay. So now you can see here I have drawn, this is right atrium, this is left atrium, this is right ventricle and this is left ventricle. There is a septum in between the left and right ventricle which you can easily see here. You cannot see the septum between the atria, but you can see the septum between the ventricles. This is interventricular septum. And you can also see a septum in between atria and ventricles here. Here it is present, atria and ventricles. This is the septum between the atria and ventricles, everyone. Okay. So now if I will show the wall of heart here, the atria have a thin wall as compared to the ventricles, everyone. Ventricles have a thick wall. And if you will see the wall of left ventricle, the wall of left ventricle is going to be the thickest. You can see here, this is the wall of left ventricle and it has the thickest wall. Left ventricle has thickest wall. So what I told you till now, I have told you that in the wall of heart there are 3 layers. So the wall of atria comparatively is thin as compared to the ventricles. Why? Why? Because when atria will contract, the blood will come into the ventricles very, very near. Yes or no? So it has to apply less force. Yes? For that, it don't require that many muscles, that much muscles in the myocardium. Muscles are present in which layer of wall of heart? Myocardium. So if we talk about ventricles, they have to pump blood out of the heart. We will see. Right ventricle is going to pump blood into the lungs and left ventricle is going to pump blood into the whole body. So the force required by the right ventricle to push the blood out, that is also less as compared to the force required by the left ventricle. So that is why the myocardium of left ventricle, the wall of left ventricle is the thickest. Are you understanding this? So left ventricle has thickest wall as it has to supply blood to whole body, to whole body. Is this clear, everyone? So now you can see 4 chambers, and let me write here because you can't see the septum in between the 2 atria. So let me write that here. 2 upper small atria are separated by a thin interatrial septum, everyone. They are separated by interatrial septum. If we talk about the ventricles, they are separated by a thick. So as compared to the interatrial septum, the interventricular septum is going to be thick. Interventricular septum. So you can see here this interventricular septum here. So I hope you have understood these 2 septums. Now the atria of both sides are also separated from the ventricles of both sides. So this is going to be the atrioventricular septum. This septum is present between atria and ventricles. So that is why AV septum. AV septum is atrioventricular septum, everyone. Is this clear to everyone? So now in this AV septum, you can see 2 valves here, one on the left side and one on the right side. In the right side, you can see this valve which is known as tricuspid valve. Tricuspid means 3 flaps are there. Okay, 3 flaps or cusps are there. Like in one valve, if the cusps are like this, so that means 2 cusps are there. When the blood will come, they will open like this. and when the blood pressure will come from the downside, then they will close like this. Okay everyone? So when there are 3 cusps, that will be tricuspid, and when there are 2 cusps, that will be bicuspid. So this valve is the bicuspid or mitral valve, and this valve which is present on the right side, this is tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve. Okay everyone? Now the another important point about heart is from where the blood is coming into the right atrium and from where the blood is coming into the left atrium. Okay? In the right atrium, there are 3 openings in the right atrium. One is the opening of superior vena cava, one is the opening of inferior vena cava, and one is the opening of coronary sinus. So let me write these blood vessels here. This is beta superior vena cava, SVC. This is inferior vena cava, IVC. And you can see here one opening. This is the opening of coronary sinus. This opening is termed as coronary sinus, into which coronary veins are opening everyone. Coronary veins are opening. So coronary veins are those veins which are carrying the deoxygenated blood of the heart itself. Heart is also an organ. Heart is also pumping the blood. So it is working now. So it is also requiring oxygen and it is also releasing the carbon dioxide. Okay. So now when it is releasing the carbon dioxide, that deoxygenated blood from the heart is coming to the right atrium of the heart, and the deoxygenated blood of the upper body parts which are present above our heart, from there the deoxygenated blood is coming through the superior vena cava. And if we talk about the lower body parts, the deoxygenated blood of lower body parts is coming into the right atrium through inferior vena cava. So now everyone, right atrium is receiving deoxygenated blood from 3 openings. Through 3 openings it is receiving the deoxygenated blood everyone. Okay. Now talking about the left atrium. Left atrium is receiving oxygenated blood via 2 pair of pulmonary veins. How many pair of pulmonary veins are opening into the left atrium everyone? 2 pairs. One pair is coming from the right lung, one pair is coming from the left lung, and these 2 pairs are opening into the left ventricle. Okay. So these are the openings of pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins. Okay. So pulmonary veins, they are carrying deoxygenated blood. They are carrying deoxygenated blood from, they are carrying oxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood we have talked about here. We have talked about the deoxygenated blood here. This is the oxygenated blood everyone. Carry oxygenated blood from lungs. Okay. And right atrium through SVC, through IVC and through coronary sinus. From these 3 blood vessels, the right atrium is receiving deoxygenated blood. So right atrium receives deoxygenated blood via first, second and third. So now I think this is understood. In heart there are 4 chambers, 2 atria, 2 ventricles. Now you have understood that the right atrium is receiving which type of blood and from where? From the body parts it is receiving deoxygenated blood via 3 things. Okay, via SVC, IVC and coronary sinus. Now talking about the left atrium is receiving oxygenated blood from the lungs via pulmonary veins. Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear to everyone? So now no talking, no discussion among yourselves in the comments. I've told you already, so now you are again started. Okay everyone? So you should not comment if there is any question you can ask, but otherwise you should not comment. So why do tricuspid valve has 3 flaps? It is the structural confirmation beta. It is the structure of the tricuspid valve. Because it has 3 flaps, that is why it is called tricuspid. Okay. Now coming to the right and left ventricles. So the blood from the right atrium is going to come into the right ventricle. The blood from left atrium is going to come into the left ventricle. Okay. So this is the flow of blood here. From here the blood is coming down. From here also the blood is coming down. So now the ventricles will be carrying the blood. Now when the ventricles will contract, the blood will go from right ventricle, the blood will go into the pulmonary trunk. This is known as pulmonary trunk, and this pulmonary trunk has 2 parts. Now those 2 parts will be termed as pulmonary artery. So pulmonary trunk is going to divide into 2 pulmonary artery. One is going into the left lung and another is going into the right lung, and they are carrying the deoxygenated blood to the lungs. So now pulmonary trunk is going to the lungs. Okay everyone. Now so the deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle is going into the pulmonary trunk, and the oxygenated blood from the left ventricle is going into the aorta. You can see aorta here everyone. This is the aorta which will be supplying oxygenated blood to the whole body. Okay everyone. Now this is all about these are the main things about the structure of heart. Now I will tell you 2 more points in the ventricles, related to the ventricles. Related to the ventricles, they have some kind of muscles here. They have some kind of muscles which are high-ridged muscles. These muscles are known as papillary muscles everyone. So they are present only in ventricles, they are not present in atria. Okay, these are present in ventricles, they are not present in atria. So these muscles are termed as papillary muscles. These muscles are what? Papillary muscles. So what is the function of papillary muscles? See, during the ventricular contraction, what is happening here? During the ventricular contraction, beta, the blood, the deoxygenated blood here, the oxygenated blood here is going to enter into the pulmonary trunk and aorta. Is that clear? So it should not go back into the right atrium and left atrium. Yes or no? So for that there are some cord-like structures like this. There are some cord-like structures which are connected to the valves. There are some cord-like structures which are connected to the valves like this. To the bicuspid valve as well as to the tricuspid valve. These are the cord-like structures which you can see here. These cord-like structures are known as chordae tendinae. These are known as what? Chordae tendinae. So chordae tendinae are cord-like structures which are connected to the AV valves. There are 2 AV valves, bicuspid and tricuspid valve. Okay. So the chordae tendinae are connected to the AV valves, and they are also connected to the papillary muscles. So during the ventricular contraction, they are preventing, these chordae tendinae are preventing the collapsing back of AV valves, so that the blood which has come from the atria, it should not go back to the atria. Are you understanding this? So it should go into the pulmonary artery and aorta. Okay. So we can write the function of chordae tendineae here. These chordae tendineae, they prevent collapsing back of AV valves during ventricular contraction. Is this clear to everyone? Is the papillary muscles, the function of papillary muscles and the function of chordae tendineae is clear to everyone? Okay. So now let's write papillary muscles. About papillary muscles also, they provide attachment site for, they provide site of attachment or attachment site for chordae tendineae, because I don't have that much space, so I am writing in short. CT for chordae tendineae I have written there. Okay, CT for chordae tendineae. Okay, thank you Shanu or Chanu, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Okay, ma'am, where is the coronary muscles? Beta, there is nothing like coronary muscle. There is a valve that is known as coronary valve, which is present in the coronary sinus. Okay, and the muscles which are present in the heart, they are known as cardiac muscles. Okay, so I think now till here you all have understood the structure of heart is understood by everyone. Please tell me in the comments if you have understood it well by giving the thumbs up. Chordae tendineae provides support for the valves. Yes, beta, Sai Janavi, these chordae tendineae are fibrous cord-like structures which will prevent the collapsing back. During the ventricular contraction, there are chances that due to the force, due to the pressure of the blood, the AV valves can go back into the atria, they can collapse back and the blood can go back to the atria. So to prevent that, these chordae tendineae are basically keeping them holding these AV valves in position. Okay, all right, okay, you understood very well. Now let's move ahead. So first we are going to read NCERT. I want my students to read NCERT. I want this habit to be inculcated in yourselves. Okay, so let's read all this what we have studied till now from NCERT. Are you ready everyone? So let's start. So now we have studied all these things about human heart, wall and the pericardium and the pericardial fluid and all these things about the heart. Now, okay, one more thing I would like to tell you which I missed it here. There are valves in the pulmonary artery and aorta as well. Here in the pulmonary artery, there will be a valve, and here I think this is not that visible, so I will take this color. So here in the pulmonary trunk there is a valve, and here in the aorta also there is a valve. So the valves which are present here, they are beta semi-lunar valve. Semi means half, lunar means moon. So they are half moon shaped valves present in the pulmonary artery and aorta, semi-lunar valves. These are present in pulmonary artery. Basically it is pulmonary trunk only, but everywhere it is written pulmonary artery. So you can consider pulmonary artery, but basically it is pulmonary trunk. When you will go into the MBBS, you will read these in more detail. Okay, so pulmonary trunk is going to divide and then it will be forming two pulmonary arteries. So pulmonary trunk and aorta. So in these two blood vessels, semilunar valve is present. In the between the right atrium and right ventricle, tricuspid valve is present. In between left atrium and left ventricle, bicuspid or mitral valve is present. And if you want to know the valve present in the coronary sinus is coronary valve, coronary or Thebesian valve. This is not given in NCERT, but sometimes they give like in options they will give, okay, in the extra options they will give these kind of terms. So better you don't get confused with those terms. And there is another valve present in the inferior vena cava, because in inferior vena cava also the backflow of blood can occur. So in inferior vena cava also there is a valve present, that is Eustachian valve. Okay, in this also there is a valve, Eustachian valve. Okay everyone, so all these valves, what is the function? To prevent backflow of blood. Simply use of coronary sinus, Kadambala. Beta, use of coronary sinus, this is that opening through which the deoxygenated blood of heart itself is coming. So we will be studying the coronary circulation separately. Okay, so then I think it will be more clear to you, but here I can tell coronary sinus, the coronary sinus is that opening where all the coronary veins are going to open and they are going to dump all the deoxygenated blood of the heart itself. Okay everyone? Okay, so let's move ahead and read NCERT. Are you ready? So I have told you mesodermal origin, yes or no? I have told you that you know already that in the thoracic cavity, in between the lungs, your beautiful heart is situated, yes or no everyone? Now heart is tilted towards the left side. Yes, we know that our heart is little bit tilted towards the left side. Okay, in some cases, in very rare cases, it is also tilted towards the right side, and that condition is known as dextrocardia. These are very rare people in which it is tilted towards the right side, and this is not a disorder, okay? This is absolutely fine. There will not be any problem if the heart is tilted towards the right side. Now let's come to the third point. What is the size of your heart? The size of your heart is just like a clenched fist, okay? So this is the size of your heart. In males, I think heart is little bigger than females, okay? But the size is equal to the clenched fist. Now, protected by a double-walled membranous bag. So we have talked about pericardium, enclosing pericardial fluid. So we have talked about pericardial fluid. It has 4 chambers. Yes, 2 upper small atria, 2 large lower ventricles. Then thin interatrial septum will separate the atria. Thick interventricular septum is going to separate the ventricles, and the atria and ventricles are also separated by thick atrioventricular septum. In short, we can write AV septum. Opening between the right atrium and right ventricle is guarded by which valve? Tricuspid valve. So I have told you in AV septum only AV valves are present. There are 2 AV valves. One is on the right side, right tricuspid, and one is on the left side, bicuspid or mitral valve. Next is right and left ventricles are opening into the pulmonary artery and aorta respectively. I hope you understand. Respectively means pulmonary artery is arising from the right ventricle and aorta is arising from the left ventricle, okay? Then pulmonary artery and aorta have which valves? Semilunar valves. So all this we have understood by the help of diagrams, and I have written all these things here as well. So I think you all have understood this. Okay, so now let's talk about the next topic, that is nodal musculature, without which you are not going to understand cardiac cycle. So let's talk about the nodal musculature of heart everyone. Nodal musculature of heart. Nodal musculature of heart. So what is this nodal musculature? It is also known as nodal tissue. It is also known as nodal tissue. What is this nodal tissue and nodal musculature? So I have already told you that human heart is made up of cardiac muscles, yes or no? Human heart is made up of cardiac muscles, and the muscles which are present in heart, they all have a very great ability. They can generate electricity. They can generate electricity in form of electrical impulses, everyone. So you know that heart is a pump. Heart is pumping blood. Yes, just like we have motor in our houses. Yes, that motor is also pumping the water to fill the water tank. Yes or no? So if we want to fill our water tank, we have to switch on the motor so that the current will pass and then only it will work. Similarly, in the same way, our heart also requires some kind of electricity in form of electrical impulses. Okay, so these electrical impulses are generated by our muscles of heart itself. Okay, so that kind of heart is known as myogenic heart or auto-excitable. Okay, so human heart is myogenic. First point, human heart is myogenic. Human heart is myogenic, or you can say human heart is auto-excitable. That means it has the ability to generate the electrical impulses. It has the ability to generate electrical impulses. So these electrical impulses have one another name, that is action potential. Action potential. When any cell or any membrane is in the resting potential, that means no work is done. But when it comes into the action potential, then the action will be done. Action means the work will be done. So that means now it has got the action potential. Earlier it was having the resting potential and that was not working. It was at rest. So now it is working. Arey, heart is pear shaped, so what? I wanted to write heart here. You go from here and let others study. Okay? Don't waste the time of others. Shiri, Smiley, whatever is your name, and Muraka. Please go from here. If you don't want to study here, you better go from here. This place and this bridge course is not for those who don't want to study. Okay? So please stop all this nonsense. Now everyone, those who are studying, beta, everyone, please be focused over here. Please pay all your attention over here and just ignore those nonsense elements which are disturbing in the class. Okay, everyone? So let's, now I've told you myo. See, myo means muscles, genic means generation. So I have told you that the muscles of heart are generating the electrical impulses. Okay, everyone? So now, no beta, Kadamba law, can all four chambers of heart, yes, we will see in the joint diastole all the heart chambers are relaxed at a time, but all will not contract at a time. So we will come to that. Okay, just have patience. So now let me tell you again and again, I am telling you that all the muscles of heart are able to generate electricity, but there are some specialized muscles which we will call them nodal musculature, we will call them nodal tissue. So these specialized muscles are actually performing all the work. Okay, they have taken care of generating the electrical impulses, they have taken care of conducting the electrical impulses. So let's see that nodal musculature here. So I am again going to draw this heart we have seen. So these are the two atria and these are the ventricles here. Okay, and we have seen the interventricular septum also. So this is the interventricular septum. So we will see a specialized muscle which has formed in the right atrium, that is termed as SAN. Have you heard of pacemaker? You must have heard of pacemaker, everyone. So there is a muscle here, there is a specialized muscle here. Now we are calling it as, I think I will label it with a different color so that no confusion will be there. So one is SAN here, one is AVN here, atrioventricular node and sinoatrial node. These muscles at these places, the muscle has got specialized to do some to perform some function. Okay, so this is known as sinoatrial node, this is AV node, and from here a bundle of muscle fibers will be arising which is crossing the AV septum, and then it is dividing into two branches. When it comes at the top of interventricular septum, it is dividing into two branches. These two branches are of this bundle, and then these two branches are going into the respective ventricles, and here in the ventricles they are giving rise to minute fibers. These fibers are known as Purkinje fibers. They are giving rise to minute fibers. These fibers are termed as Purkinje fibers, everyone. Okay, so let me tell you here, this is, you know, right atrium, this is left atrium, this is right ventricle, and this is left ventricle. So now if you will see here, this is going to be the SAN, S-A-N, SAN, sinoatrial node. This is going to be AVN, atrioventricular node. This is AV bundle. This is the bundle of muscle fibers arising from the AVN. So that is why the name is AV bundle. And now this is the right branch of bundle, and this is the left branch, and this is the right branch. On the right side there will be right branch. So this is the right branch of AV bundle, and this is the left branch of AV bundle. Okay, everyone. AV bundle is also known as bundle of His. And now these right and left branches are giving rise to minute fibers. These fibers beta are known as Purkinje fibers. These are known as what? Purkinje fibers. So there are four important things. One is SAN, let me write sinoatrial node. Second is AVN, atrioventricular node. Third is AV bundle, which is dividing into two branches, and then the fourth is Purkinje fibers. So now SAN is what? Sinoatrial node, and you can see that this SAN is present in upper right corner of which atrium, everyone? Right atrium. Can you see that? Upper right corner of right atrium. Okay, what about heart and where they were done? Yes, beta, stents. Okay, stent is a different thing, Vishal. When there is a disorder, when there is a plaque formation occurs in the coronary arteries. So to increase the diameter, because of the plaque formation, the diameter of the coronary artery has decreased. Okay, so the blood flow is not proper. So to increase the diameter of that blood vessel, coronary artery, which is supplying oxygenated blood to heart, we are inserting stents here. Okay, so that is a different thing. We are not discussing about the disorders. When we will discuss about the disorders related to the heart, then we will talk about stents. Okay, everyone? Okay, Vishal, is your doubt clear? Okay, now I was talking about SAN is sinoatrial node, where it is present. Next important point is it is known as pacemaker of heart. It is known as pacemaker of heart, everyone. Why it is known as pacemaker of heart? Because it has the ability to generate maximum number of electrical impulses. I have told you that all the heart muscles have the ability to generate electrical impulses. But the SAN, why it has got specialized? Because it has the ability to generate maximum number of electrical impulses, and those are 70 to 75 per minute. So that is why our heart rate on an average it is 72 beats per minute. Yes or no? Are you understanding this point? So pacemaker, as it generates maximum number of impulses. Okay everyone, coming to the AVN now. AVN stands for atrioventricular node. So why the name is atrioventricular node? Because it is present near to the AV septum. You know that in between the atria and ventricles there is AV septum. So because it is present near to that, it has this name atrioventricular node. Where it is present exactly? It is present in lower left corner everyone. Lower left corner of right atrium near AV septum. This is the exact location of AVN. Are you understanding this? So location of SAN, location of AVN, both are in the right atrium, but still location is different. Inside the right atrium, one is in the upper side, right side, one is in the lower side and left side. Now after SAN, if any other node is there which has the ability to generate maximum number of electrical impulses, that is AVN. That is why it is known as pace setter of heart. Okay, what is the use of pacemaker? Beta, use of pacemaker is to generate the electrical impulses. They are generating the electrical impulses. Artificial pacemaker, Jazz is asking, artificial pacemaker is used when the natural, our SAN, has some problem. Okay, when it will stop working, then we will require artificial pacemaker. So if at all our SAN stops working, then also our heart does not stop beating, because then the function will be taken care of by the AVN. Okay, so AVN, that is why it is known as pace setter of heart, pace setter or reserve pacemaker of heart. It is known as pace setter of heart or reserve pacemaker of heart. Are you understanding which is pacemaker and which is pace setter? Yes or no everyone? Are you understanding? Okay, now the electrical impulses which are generated by the right atrium, they will be coming into both the atria, and they will also be coming to the atrioventricular node. Now this atrioventricular node, from here some muscle fibers are arising which are making the bundle, AV bundle. What is AV bundle? Bundle of muscle fibers. Bundle of muscle fibers arising from AVN, atrioventricular node. So you can see this atrioventricular bundle is passing through the AV septum. Then you can see this is interventricular septum here, interventricular septum. When it reaches, beta, everyone, when it reaches on the top of interventricular septum, it is going to divide into two branches. One is going into the left ventricle, one is going into the right ventricle. Then it will be dividing further to form these Purkinje fibers. So Purkinje fibers are minute fibers formed by branches of AV bundle. And one more thing about Purkinje fibers, very quickly the impulse will be going through these Purkinje fibers very quickly, and the whole ventricular musculature will be getting the impulses. Okay, as a result it will be contracting. Okay, why doctor gives shock to the patients? Okay, gaming stars, oh my god, your name is okay different. Doctor gives shock to the patient because when in some cases when the heart stops beating, so suddenly when the heart stops beating, maybe the heart muscles will catch the electrical impulses from the outside, and then maybe they again start generating it. So that is why doctor gives shock to some patients. Okay, electrical impulses, beta, because of electrical impulses, Shrideep, the heart is going to beat. Okay, heart muscles, no beta, they are working, they are getting the oxygen beta, so why they will work anaerobically? They are getting enough oxygen through the coronary arteries, they are getting oxygen. Okay, so the heart muscles are getting enough oxygen. Okay, so I think all the questions are cleared, all the doubts are cleared. So now I was telling Purkinje fibers conduct impulses and pass them very quickly to whole ventricles, to whole ventricular musculature. All right everyone, so we have talked about SAN, we have talked about AVN, we have talked about AV bundle, and then we have talked about Purkinje fibers. All these are the specialized muscles which are termed as nodal musculature of heart. So I hope nodal musculature is clear to everyone. Now when the SAN will generate the impulses, it will go to both the atria. I have told you here, it will go to both the atria and both the atria will contract. Then meanwhile, when both the atria are contracting, the impulses will go to the ventricles and then ventricles will contract. Are you understanding this? So how the atria and the ventricles will be contracting simultaneously? Both atria will contract simultaneously, both ventricles are going to contract simultaneously. Okay everyone, so now let's see our topic cardiac cycle, for which we have understood the structure of heart, the nodal musculature of heart. So let's talk about the cardiac cycle here. If I talk about cardiac cycle, see why we are calling it a cycle, because we will see some events. Some events will be there in one cardiac cycle. In the next cardiac cycle, they are going to repeat. Then again, in the next, they are again going to repeat. So the events are repeated in a cyclical manner. That is why we are calling it a cardiac cycle. Okay, and you know that our heart rate is 72 times per minute. It is beating. So every beat is equal to one cardiac cycle. Okay, so every beat is equal to one cardiac cycle. So cardiac cycle, we will see some events occurring during one heartbeat. One heartbeat are going to repeat in the next and so on. Okay everyone, so we will talk about these events, and to understand these events you should know two terms. There are two terms which are very, very important. These two terms are, one is diastole and one is systole everyone. Diastole means relaxed state and systole means contracted state. Okay everyone, so wherever we will use diastole and systole, that means systole means contraction and diastole means relaxation. Okay, now coming to the cardiac cycle, first of all let me tell you that heart rate. So what is the heart rate? 72 beats per minute, and just now I have told you one heartbeat is equal to one cardiac cycle. So now you are going to tell me how many cardiac cycles are occurring in 1 minute? Everyone, how many cardiac cycles are occurring in 1 minute? 72. 72 cardiac cycle are happening in 1 minute. 1 minute, that is 60 seconds. So if we want to calculate the duration of one cardiac cycle, what will be the duration of one cardiac cycle? The duration of one cardiac cycle is going to be 60 upon 72. So that is going to be 0.8 second. Are you understanding? 0.8 second. So 72 is the average heart rate, 72 beats per minute. So 72 cardiac cycle will happen per minute. So if 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds, that means 72 cardiac cycle is happening in 60 seconds. So we can here calculate the duration of one cardiac cycle, that is 0.8 second is the duration of one cardiac cycle. Beta, it is average. Manish, it is not exactly 72, it is average we are taking. Okay, sometimes it can be 71, sometimes it can be 73, sometimes it can be 75, and sometimes it can be more, and sometimes it can be less. You know, our heart rate can decrease, can increase according to the situation, but here we are talking about the average. Okay, Manish, is it clear to everyone? So now we have got the duration of one cardiac cycle. Let me now draw this as the cardiac cycle, and if I will take a half, then this will be the 0.4 second, and then the rest will be 0.4 second. So here again I am dividing it into 0.1 second and 0.3 second. So we will be mainly talking about 3 events which are happening in the cardiac cycle, and we are taking this event which is occurring for 0.4 second as the first event. So the first event here we are going to talk about the joint diastole. The second event we are going to talk about is atrial systole, and the third event which we will be talking about is ventricular systole, everyone. So please look here, the cycle is going into this direction, okay? First joint diastole, then atrial systole, then ventricular systole. First let's talk about the joint diastole. So I have told you what is the meaning of diastole, everyone. Tell me in the comments. Diastole means relaxed. So all the 4 chambers are relaxed. Joint means all. Okay. So all the chambers of heart are in relaxed state. All chambers, all 4 chambers are relaxed, everyone. Now, when all 4 chambers are relaxed, you know that the blood is coming into the atria. Into the right atria, deoxygenated blood is coming. Into the left atria, oxygenated blood is coming. The blood which is coming, it is putting a pressure on the AV valves. Because of that pressure, the AV valves are open. Okay, so the blood which is coming to the atria is going into the ventricles as well. This is happening during the joint diastole. So let's write what is happening during the joint diastole. All 4 chambers are relaxed. Both atria are receiving blood. Both atria are receiving blood. So now I need not to write which atria is receiving which type of blood. I've already told you. Next is AV valves are open. Why they are open? Because the blood which is coming from the atria, it is putting a pressure on the AV valves, and because of the pressure of blood, they are open. Okay, everyone? So now AV valves are open, and due to these AV valves are open, the blood is going into the ventricles. So this is happening during the joint diastole. Almost 70% of the filling of ventricles will occur in the joint diastole. Okay, so now here nothing is contracting, no atria is contracting, no ventricles are contracting, every chamber of heart is in relaxed state. Okay, now going to the second event, that is beta atrial systole, that is atrial systole. So that means for a very less time, you know the duration, for a very less time the atria are going to contract. So here comes the SAN. Here comes the SAN, that is why we have understood the nodal musculature. So how the atria are going to contract, everyone? The atria will contract when the impulses from the SAN will come to both atria. So in atrial systole we can write SAN generates electrical impulses which goes to both atria. As a result, both atria contract. Are you understanding this? Both atria will contract. So when both atria will contract, obviously you know that AV valves are open and the blood is coming into the ventricles. So the filling of ventricles will be increased by 30% now. Only for 0.1 second, whatever the blood which was left in the atria, that is going to come into the ventricles, and the ventricular filling will be increased by how much percent, everyone? 30%. Okay. So ventricular filling increased by 30%. So if I have told you that during the joint diastole ventricles were nearly 70% filled, now after the atrial systole the ventricles are almost 100% filled, everyone? Yes or no? Okay, so now coming to, this is happening during the atrial systole. Now coming to the third event. Okay, third event is ventricular systole. Okay everyone, till now when the joint diastole was there, both atria and ventricles were relaxed. When the atrial systole was there occurring, so then at this time what ventricles were doing? They were relaxed only, na? They were simply receiving the blood. So that means we can calculate from here the total duration of the ventricular diastole. You just have to minus the duration of ventricular systole from the total duration of cardiac cycle. Yes or no? So from here till here, this is ventricular diastole. So ventricular diastole is going to be 0.5 second. Are you able to understand the duration of ventricular diastole? I have told you in the joint diastole also ventricles were relaxed. During the atrial systole also ventricles were relaxed. So ventricles were the total time in which they were relaxed, that is 0.4 second plus 0.1 second. So now it's their time to contract because they are fully filled with blood. So now the blood has to go out of the ventricles. Yes or no, everyone? So now let's write how the ventricles will contract. When the atria were contracting, during that time only the electrical impulse has come to the ventricles via the nodal musculature, you know, via the AVN, AV bundle, Purkinje fibers. Yes or no? So now we can write we can write that during atrial systole, impulses, electrical impulses have come to ventricles via AVN, AV bundle and Purkinje fibers. Yes or no everyone? AVN, AV bundle and Purkinje fibers, now you understand? So during that time, during 0.1 second, in that meantime, the ventricles will get the electrical impulses. So now as a result, both ventricles will contract. So when they start contracting, the first thing which we will see here, the first sign of ventricular contraction is AV valves. They will get closed immediately. Why they are getting closed now everyone? You have to think. See, when the blood was coming from atria to ventricles, the blood pressure, the pressure exerted by the blood, because of that pressure only the AV valves are open. Now the pressure is exerted into the opposite direction. So the valves were like this. Now when the blood was coming from the upper side, they were opening like this. Now when the blood is coming from the downside, they are closing like this. And when they will close like this, there will be a sound which is produced during the closure of AV valves. So why these AV valves are closed here everyone? The AV valves are closed due to the blood which is now coming up due to the ventricular contraction. Okay, so when both ventricles will contract, it will lead to the closure of AV valves, and AV valves, the closure of AV valves produces first heart sound, that is everyone, what is that? That is lub. Lub is the first heart sound. It is of longer duration as compared to the second sound, and it is of high pitch. Okay, so it is for longer duration. It is of longer duration and of high pitch. Sorry, it is of low pitch beta, not high pitch. When it is of longer duration, it is of low pitch. When it is of shorter duration, then it is high pitch. So longer duration and low pitch. Longer duration and low pitch. You have to remember with the L. Longer duration and low pitched voice. Okay, I am so sorry, by mistake I have told you this. So now longer duration and low pitch. Now, so now AV valves are closed everyone. AV valves are closed. Now the ventricles are contracting. So the blood is exerting some pressure on which valves? Tell me, on which valves? It is exerting pressure on the semilunar valves. Okay, so now semilunar valves will be forced open. Semilunar valves are forced open. They are forced open, and blood goes into the pulmonary artery and aorta. From the right atrium, it is going into the pulmonary artery. From the right ventricle, it is going into the pulmonary artery, and from the left ventricle, it is going into the aorta. Okay, so now the semilunar valves are forced open during the ventricular systole. Till now they were closed. Okay, so due to the pressure of the blood only, they are getting open. Okay, so now we have seen here ventricular systole. So where I can mark the sound lub? Here I can mark the sound lub? Yes or no? Here we are getting the lub sound. So sometimes they will give statements like the beginning of ventricular systole is marked by which sound? The beginning of ventricular systole is marked by the lub sound. Okay, because just when the ventricular systole will start, then the AV valves will close, and closure of AV valves is going to produce the sound, that is first heart sound, that is lub. Is it clear to everyone? So now let's talk about what will happen after this. When the ventricular systole is done, the blood has pumped out of the ventricles. We will talk about how much blood is pumped out of the ventricles per cardiac cycle and per beat. We will talk about that. But after this, what will happen, everyone? After this, ventricular diastole will start, na? I have told you already, ventricular diastole will start. So during the ventricular diastole, we can write the fourth event, but this fourth event is coinciding with the joint diastole. So that is ventricular diastole. This is the part of I am mentioning it here, this is the part of joint diastole only. Okay, so don't say that you have told 3 events. Yes, these 3 events are there, but now the new thing, what it will happen? After the ventricular systole, the ventricles will undergo relaxation. When they have pumped blood out of the ventricle, now they are going to relax. When they will relax, then no force is applied on the semilunar valves. So immediately the semilunar valves will be closed. Okay, everyone? So now when they will be closed, then again a sound will be produced here. So ventricular diastole is marked by closure of semilunar valves, producing second heart sound, that is known as dub, everyone. That is known as dub. So this dub sound is of short duration and is of high pitch. So this is for short duration and of high pitch So we can hear to these 2 sounds by the help of a stethoscope. Okay, so you all will be getting the stethoscopes once you all will be the doctors. Yes or no, everyone? So are you understanding, my future doctors? Are you understanding what I am explaining here? Have you understood the events of the cardiac cycle, the 2 heart sounds, why they are coming, when they are coming? So here let us mention, in this cycle let us mention the dub sound is coming here. I have told you, na? Here the dub sound is coming. So sometimes they will ask you the duration between lub and dub. So the duration between lub and dub you are going to calculate like this, and the duration between dub and lub you are going to calculate like this. So what is the duration between lub and dub? It is 0.5. And what is the duration between dub and lub? Sorry, 0.3 here, and here I have already told you 0.5. So this is 0.3 and this is 0.5. Dub will come. Okay, after the lub only dub will come, na? So after the dub again the lub will come. So the cycle is repeated like this, in this manner. Yes or no? Are you understanding? So now let's talk about how much of blood is going out of the ventricles during ventricular systole. That is also one important point. So there is a volume that is known as stroke volume. Beta, stroke volume is the amount of blood or volume of blood volume of blood pumped by each ventricle per beat or per cardiac cycle. You know that one heartbeat is equal to one cardiac cycle, everyone. So per beat, how much of blood is pumped out of ventricle? That is 70 ml. Our stroke volume is 70 ml. That is 70 ml. When you will come here to study with us, then I will tell you how we have got this 70 ml as well. Okay. So now if they will ask you what is cardiac output, so cardiac output is the volume of blood pumped by each ventricle per minute. So now you know, in 1 minute there are 72 beats, means 72 cardiac cycles. So how we can calculate the cardiac output? We can calculate the cardiac output by multiplying stroke volume to the heart rate, everyone. Yes or no? So the stroke volume is 70 and the heart rate is 72 beats per minute. So it will come to 5000 ml or 5 liter. This is our cardiac output. It can be changed because stroke volume also can be changed. Okay. So this is all about the cardiac cycle. So if you want to read it from NCERT, I have NCERT here. See, what is given in NCERT? Joint diastole. All 4 chambers are in relaxed state. AV valves are open. Blood is flowing into the ventricles and semilunar valves are closed. During atrial systole, SAN is generating action potential or electrical impulses, and then both atria will contract. Then blood flow into the ventricles is increased by how much percent? 30%. These are the lines of NCERT. So to understand each and every line of NCERT, you have to understand the concept. Okay. You have to have the conceptual clarity. Coming to the ventricular systole, I have told you AVN and AV bundle is going to conduct the action potential to the bundle of His, and it will reach to the entire ventricular musculature, and then the ventricular muscles will contract. When they will contract, that means at this time the atria is in the diastole. Atria is relaxing. So I have told you, if now joint diastole is there, both atria and ventricles are contracting. Here in the 0.1 second, the atria is contracting. So when ventricular systole, we are talking about this 0.3 second ventricular systole. So it is telling that during this time, atria are doing what? They are relaxing. So if they will ask you the total duration of atrial diastole, the atrial diastole is going to be 0.7 second. Are you understanding? How come it is 0.7 second? Because during joint diastole also they are relaxed, and during ventricular systole also they are relaxed. So the atria are relaxed for 0.7 second. If from the 0.8 second they are contracting for only 0.1 second, that means in all the rest of the time they are doing what? They are relaxing. Okay. Now, due to the increased ventricular pressure, I have told you AV valves will close. First heart sound will be produced. Semilunar valves will be forced open and blood will flow into the pulmonary artery and aorta. Next, ventricular diastole. Ventricles are relaxing. Ventricular pressure will fall. So, closure of semilunar valves produces the second heart sound, dub. Here again the AV valves will be open, then again the blood will start flowing, and now again the joint diastole will come. Yes or no? Now the ventricles and atria are again in the joint diastole, and here I have written the points to remember. 72 cardiac cycles per minute, duration of one cardiac cycle 0.8 seconds, stroke volume 70 ml, cardiac output is stroke volume multiplied by heart rate, that is equal to 5000 ml or 5 liter. So I hope you have understood the cardiac cycle very nicely, and I hope you will remember this. Yes, and if you have NCERT, you are going to again read everything from the NCERT which I have told you in today's class. Okay everyone, so with this we are done with our today's topic. I hope you all have understood it very well. Yes, if you all have understood it, please tell me in the comments by a thumbs up, by giving a thumbs up. Yes everyone? Okay, fine. So this is the end of today's session. Okay, all the best for your upcoming sessions and for your upcoming classes. See you maybe in the next session or maybe here in the institute when you will be coming here. So if you are liking the session, please hit the like button, and for more updates related to Sri Chaitanya Gosala, please subscribe to this channel. Okay everyone, bye bye, take care, God bless you all.